You feed him, you walk him, you make sure he's warm at night and that his water bowl is never dry. You talk to him more than you talk to most people. He listens. Maybe he doesn't answer, but somehow he just knows. You give him love in every way you know how. But here's a question most owners never ask out loud. Does he love you back? Or is he just reacting? You've seen him wag his tail. You've seen him jump when you come home. But what if I told you some of the most powerful ways dogs show love go completely unnoticed? And I don't mean tricks or obedience or those over-the-top greetings at the door. I'm talking about the quiet things, the subtle things, the behaviors that seem so ordinary, so routine, that most owners just walk right past them. In fact, there's one signal, a single small gesture, that less than 2% of owners even realize is a declaration of love. It's not in your dog training book. It's not something they teach at the vet. But once you see it, you'll never unsee it. So here's what we're going to do. We'll go through 10 surprising ways your dog may already be saying, "I love you," and you've been missing it. Backed by science, filled with emotion. And by the end of this video, I promise you'll never look at your dog the same way again. So let's start not with a trick or a treat, but with a moment. A quiet moment. One where he simply looks at you and yawns. One, your dog yawns with you. It's not just copying. Have you ever yawned and then noticed your dog yawn right after? You probably smiled, maybe thought, "Cute, he's just copying me." But what if I told you that little moment meant something much deeper? Researchers at the University of Tokyo ran a study where dogs watched both their owners and strangers yawn. And guess what? The dogs were way more likely to catch the yawn from their owners than from people they didn't know. Now here's the part that changes everything in humans. Contagious yawning has been linked to empathy, the ability to feel what someone else feels. So when your dog yawns after you, it might not be mimicry, it might be love. But here's what most owners miss. It usually happens in quiet moments. No leash in your hand, no treat involved, just stillness. You're sitting there, maybe tired, maybe stressed, and he mirrors you. Not to get attention, but to connect. So let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered if your dog senses your emotions better than most people do? Have you ever noticed how he moves closer when you're down, or how he rests his head against you without a word? This yawning, it's not small. It's his way of saying, "I'm with you, I feel you." But that's just the beginning. Because if your dog does this one subtle thing, what does it mean when he just stares into your eyes and doesn't look away? Tattoo's gaze and oxytocin, the silent bond. You've felt it. That moment when your dog just stares at you. No barking, no wagging, just still, steady eye contact. And maybe you've looked away thinking, "What does he want?" Or, "That's kind of intense." But what if I told you he doesn't want anything? He's giving you something. In 2015, a group of scientists in Japan led by Takafumi Kikusui discovered that when a dog gazes into their owner's eyes, something remarkable happens inside both bodies. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, surges. In you, in him. The same chemical that builds trust between a mother and her newborn. It rises just from a look. And here's what's even more powerful: the longer you return that gaze, the more it builds. It's not about dominance. It's not a stare down. It's a feedback loop of affection, loyalty, connection. Have you ever noticed how he watches you even when you're not talking to him? When you shift in your chair, when you sigh, when you look out the window, he's there, watching, waiting, wanting to stay in sync. So let me ask you, when was the last time you held his gaze not to command but to connect? Because when he looks into your eyes, He's not waiting for food or a walk. He's anchoring himself to the only thing that truly matters to him. You. But here's something stranger. Sometimes he raises his eyebrows when he does it. Why? Let's take a closer look. 3 eyebrow movements. When dogs try to talk. You've seen it, haven't you? That little face he makes when you walk into the room. Ears twitch slightly, tongue out, and those eyebrows lift just enough to make you smile. It's easy to brush off. Maybe you thought, that's just how his face moves, or he's being goofy. But what if I told you in that tiny lift he's trying to talk to you? Here's what scientists found. When a dog knows he's being watched, especially by someone he loves, he changes his face. In a study published in the journal Scientific Reports, researchers discovered dogs make significantly more facial expressions when a human is paying attention, especially eyebrow movements. Think about that for a second. He doesn't do it to other dogs. He doesn't do it when you're not looking. But when your eyes meet his, he reacts. Not just emotionally, but physically. That raised brow. It's his version of a soft smile. A greeting. A quiet, there you are. Have you ever had a moment like that when your dog didn't bark or jump, but just gave you a look? And somehow, it felt like enough. So here's a question that might stick with you. What else has he been trying to say all this time in ways you've never been taught to read? Because sometimes he doesn't use a sound or a movement. Sometimes he just stays right next to you, especially after he eats. And that means more than you think. 4. Cuddling after eating. A powerful signal you feed him every day, same time, same bowl. He eats, you clean up. End of story, right? But then something else happens. He doesn't run off. He doesn't go chase his toy or nap in his usual spot. Instead, he leans in. He sits beside you. Or maybe he climbs gently into your lap and stays there quiet, warm, breathing, slow. And you think, well, he's probably just full. But what if it's more than that? You see, when a dog eats, especially in a safe, familiar space, with someone he trusts, his body relaxes. But when he seeks you right after, it's not about food anymore. It's about bonding. That post-meal cuddle isn't convenience. It's chemical. Endorphins get released. Comfort kicks in. And he chooses to spend that moment of peace with you. Not because he has to. Not because you asked. But because you've become part of how he feels safe in the world. Have you noticed how different it feels when he eats and walks away versus when he finishes, then curls up beside you? It's a small thing, but it says everything. So here's the question. What does it say about your bond when his first instinct after eating is you? And what if, instead of cuddling, he walks up to you holding his favorite toy in his mouth? That's no game. That's something even more personal. The old toy gift. It's not about play. It's chewed. It smells. It's torn at the seams. You've probably stepped on it more times than you can count. That old squeaky toy, or what's left of it. And yet, somehow, it always ends up in your lap. You might think he's just begging for a game. Maybe it's habit. Maybe it's boredom. But here's another way to look at it. What if he's giving you a gift? Think about it. Dogs are naturally possessive with their most cherished objects, bones, toys, treats. These are the things they guard, hide, even fight for. And yet, he brings it to you, drops it at your feet, looks up waiting. In the animal world, that's not a request. That's trust. He's saying, this is mine, and I want you to have it. Or maybe I want you to keep it safe. Because I trust you more than anyone. When was the last time someone gave you their favorite thing? Not because you asked, but because they wanted you to feel included, protected, chosen. And let's not ignore the look in his eyes when he does it. That quiet urgency, that wagging tail, that sense that he's not giving something away, he's sharing a part of himself. So the next time he brings you that beat-up toy, don't just toss it across the room. Ask yourself this instead. Why would he offer something so precious? Unless you were two. And what if the next thing he offers you is his head? 6. Letting you touch his head. From caution to connection. He lowers his head. You reach out. And gently, you rest your hand on top. Maybe he leans into it. Maybe he closes his eyes. It feels simple, familiar. But have you ever stopped to think how rare that moment really is? Most dogs don't like being touched on the head, not by strangers, not even by people they know. That's not just stubbornness. That's instinct. In the wild, a hand reaching down from above, that's threat, not comfort. So why does he let you do it? Because with you, it's not a warning. It's a ritual. It's a moment of surrender. When your hand rests on his head and he doesn't flinch, he's telling you something. I'm safe here. I trust this touch. It's not a command. It's not training. It's permission given quietly from a place deep inside him. Have you noticed how he won't let others do it? How he moves away when a neighbor tries to pet him there. But with you, he stays. He even leans in. That's not just comfort. That's connection. And when he closes his eyes under your palm, that's not sleepiness. That's peace. So here's something worth asking. What have you done over the years in the silence, in the care to earn that moment? Because that little gesture, so easy to overlook, might be one of the purest ways he says, "You're mine, and I'm yours." But what if he doesn't stay under your hand? What if, instead, he disappears into your laundry? 7. Sleeping on your clothes. The scent of love. You've seen it 100 times. You come home, head to the laundry basket, and there he is, curled up in your dirty shirt, or lying across a pile of socks like it's a king's bed. And maybe your first thought is, that's gross, or that's going to smell worse now. But pause for a second. Why that shirt? Why that pair of socks? Because to him, they smell like home. Like you. Dogs experience the world through scent. It's their strongest sense. And the clothes you've worn, sweated in, lived in, they carry your essence. They are you in a form he can hold on to when you're gone. Have you noticed when he does it most? When you leave the house, when you're gone longer than usual, or even after an argument, when the room felt tense. That's not random. That's comfort-seeking. That's love pulled from a pile of cotton and denim. And here's the beautiful part, he could sleep anywhere. His bed, the couch, the floor, but he chooses what smells like you. He burrows in, stays close, breathes slower. So next time you see him tangled in your laundry, don't rush to pull it away. Ask yourself instead, what does it say that he finds peace in something you were ready to throw in the wash? Because that act of silent devotion, it's more honest than words. But not all gestures are silent. Some are loud, visible, and right behind him in the way his tail moves. 8. Tail wagging. Not always. What you think you've heard it 1,000,000 times. If the tail's wagging, he's happy. That's the rule, right? But then, there's that moment, tail still wagging, and he growls, or freezes, or stares with his body stiff. And suddenly, you wonder, wait, I thought he was fine. Truth is, the wag isn't a yes or no answer. It's a language. And like any language, it changes with tone, direction, and speed. When his tail is loose and wagging mid-height, that's your classic, "Hey, good to see you" signal. But if it's high and stiff, he's alert sometimes, too alert. If it's low and slow, he might be nervous. And if it's tucked but twitching, that's not joy. That's stress trying to stay hidden. And here's where it gets personal, because different breeds carry their tails differently. So what means happy in a golden retriever might not mean the same for a German shepherd. The real key, you. You know his neutral. You've seen how he wags when you grab the leash or when you come home late. That tail. It's not just a mood ring. It's a message board. And every flick means something especially to the one person he trusts to understand. Have you been reading it, or just assuming? Because once you know what to look for, the tail never lies. But what about when the tail goes wild the moment you step through the door, and he acts like you've been gone forever? Let's talk about that. 9. Overexcited when you come home. Survival or love? You crack the door open, and before your keys even hit the counter, he's there. Tail spinning, body bouncing, whining, wiggling, pacing in circles like you've been gone for years, not hours. And you laugh, maybe say, "Calm down, buddy." But have you ever wondered, why does he react like that every single time? From his perspective, you disappeared, and he had no way of knowing when or if you'd return. You're his pack leader, his provider, his anchor in the world. So when you come back, that reunion isn't routine, it's relief. Science backs this up. Studies show that when dogs reunite with their owners, their oxytocin, the bonding hormone, spikes dramatically. And the stress hormone cortisol, it drops like a stone. In other words, your return literally calms his body and lifts his spirit. But it's more than that. He doesn't just run to you, he studies you, looks for signs, sniffs you like a story. Have you been somewhere new? Do you smell like another dog? Are you okay? Because here's the deeper truth in his mind. You weren't just gone. You were out there. And in the way he understands the world, that means risk. So what if he's not just excited, but grateful? What if every tail wag, every spin, every lick is his way of saying, "You made it back. We're whole again." And speaking of following, what does it mean when he follows you? Everywhere. Even when you don't call 10, following you everywhere, because you're home. He doesn't need a reason. You stand up, he follows. You head to the kitchen, he's behind you. You try to sneak into the bathroom, he's waiting at the door. And maybe, sometimes you smile, sometimes you sigh, maybe even say, "Can I just get 1 minute alone?" But deep down, you know, he's not following the fridge, he's following you. This isn't about treats or habits, it's something deeper. It goes back to the way puppies imprint the way their brains wire themselves around the first being they trust. For him, that's not his mom anymore. It's you. When he was scared, you were there. When he was hungry, you fed him. When he was lost in a new home, you became his compass. So now, you are home, wherever you go. Have you noticed how he doesn't just follow, he waits? He watches when you pause. He adjusts when you change direction. That's not dependency. That's loyalty. That's devotion. So here's the real question. What does it mean to be someone's entire world? To be followed, not because you command it, but because they choose you over and over every day. Because to him, you're not just the one with the leash. You're the one he trusts with his silence, his joy, his fear, his everything. And when you finally sit down when the world goes still and he curls up by your side, you're not just where he rests. You're where he belongs. So now you've seen it. The little signs, the quiet ones, the ones most owners never notice even after years together. A yawn that mirrors yours, a stare that settles your heart, a beat-up toy left at your feet like treasure, a curled-up nap on your old sweatshirt, a tale that tells more truth than most words. the soft permission to touch his head, the storm of joy when you come home, the steps that echo yours all day, every day. They weren't just habits. They were love letters, written in body language, not ink. And maybe you're thinking, have I missed all this before? Have I walked past these signs too busy or too tired to really see them? Maybe. But here's what matters now. You see them today. And when you see them, something shifts. You start noticing the look in his eyes when you pause at the window, the way he sighs when you sit beside him, the way his world gets quieter, calmer when you're near. Because love from a dog doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It waits. It offers. It stays. So here's one last question to carry with you. Which of these signs have you seen before? And which ones will you never miss again? If one of these moments reminded you of your own dog, leave a comment. Share his name, his story, his way of saying I love you. Because chances are, he's been saying it all along.